welcome back to the Windsor Scene, the podcast where we look at the past, present, and future of Windsor's musical footprint, the original music, that is. My name is Jamie Greer. I'm your host, and I have my co-host with me, Randi Irving.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Also, I want to give a quick shout out behind the board over there to Mr. Swiss Army Mike. Thanks for joining us on this intro today.
You're welcome. Hello, hello, hello. Good to be back. Good to see everybody.
We got some really informative and interesting information coming your way, Mike, and listeners. Today's episode, we are featuring one of the most devoted and dedicated members of Windsor's punk scene, Windsor's alternative scene. He's been around for a couple decades. I'm going to let Jamie give you a little bit more of an introduction on him, because I'm still over here fangirling about this.
So it's a him.
Yeah, it's a him.
All right.
And
that's established.
This guy was on our list from the get-go of somebody we've been wanting to get on this podcast because he's so respected for what he's done for the music scene. Mr. Jim Meloche. Some of you will remember going back to Searchingforchin when he was in the hardcore scene. Also had great success with Orphan Choir, and he's got a new project, Lost Charm, which we're going to talk about all of that just in time for this coming weekend, where Lost Charm is opening for the Dirty Nil, Hamilton's own Dirty Nil, Juno Award-winning, as well as Montreal's Spite House is on the bill. This is a Happy Little Crowd Productions at Meteor.
Shout out to Sean and Ian.
Yes, and that is on the 27th and 28th. That is Friday and Saturday night
of
September.
This week.
There we go.
This weekend. All right.
Okay, sorry I got a little excited and I was jumping the
That's
gun
all right.
there. So that's Saturday, Sunday, 27th, 28th, the Dirty Nil, Lost Charm at Meteor. Go check it out. Tickets are still available. Get them at the door. Back to this episode. As Jamie had mentioned, we sat down with Jim Meloche. I'm really excited about this episode for the fact that this was a special one for me because it was my first time actually going and editing one of our full episodes from beginning to end and choosing the music. And, you know, as they say, you always remember your first. So, Jim, I just want to thank you for that. You are forever ingrained in a certain part of my soul, and you're stuck there forever.
And
So-
that's part of our team building exercises over here at the Windsor Scene the podcast. We're all taking on multiple roles so we can all learn new and fun skills in case somebody gets sick or, things happen.
All right. Here we go
All right.
with the interview.
Yeah, first we kick it off from 2009 Orphan Choir's self-titled LP. It's the perfect song to kick off this interview. It's called New Rituals, here on the Windsor Scene, the podcast, with Jim Meloche.
Knuckles wide, he kicks the gusty bed. Trust is there through the night, but not dead when they float away. Sweat it out like a fever, cast it out like a preacher. Plays with pain. Left lonely, forbidden friends, lightly spoken, conjured bottles for display.
All right, so welcome to the Windsor scene, and we've got a longtime veteran of our scene. He's worn many hats, record label owner, radio host, musical archivist, uh, but he's best known as a musician and frontman of his own right in multiple bands, including Orphan Choir and Searchingforchin, to name a few, and his brand new project, Lost Charm. We have Mr. Jim Meloche on the show today.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Hi, Jim. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be with both of you. Two
I'm
people I've known for a very long time.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm definitely fangirling so hard right now. Like I have the biggest, dumbest smile on my face and I'm blushing so hard because I'm just so happy to sit and just talk about you and your music. It leaves such a presence in me and leaves such a mark on me. So I'm just really happy to be doing this with you. Thanks for everything.
If anything, I'll probably be deflecting into most of these projects being about collaboration because having the focus directly on me can be uncomfortable. But
Oh,
I'll
of
answer
course.
anything you got.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things that we've really pushed and we've noticed in a lot of the interviews is that this scene has been a collaborative gumbo of musicians that there's almost an incestuous nature in the scene. Um, and how if you follow the scene, it seems that every band is a supergroup because it's all members from previous bands. So collaboration has been a key thing in this scene for sure.
Oh, big time. And it's even, I think, in conversations like this, it's been maybe difficult for me to even consider myself a musician at times because I'm usually just the front person or lyricist, doing vocals, and I've rarely played any instruments in the band. So it's always important for collaboration for me because if that wasn't there, I wouldn't be doing it
Yeah,
kind of solo at all.
absolutely, absolutely. So, what was your first introduction into the Windsor music scene? I mean, as a fan, like when did you first start becoming aware of shows to see?
Um, Probably I was probably 14 or 15, I think, and it was Amherstburg originally. Like I grew up in Amherstburg, and there was that great. I mean, first of which, I was lucky to have a cool older sister who who had cool friends that she was dubbing cassettes with and trading with, and I think my introduction to a lot of more of the subcultural music that I became really interested in was through her. And then in Amherstburg, there was this great bar called Jimmy's Pub, and like Amherstburg had this great, like skateboarding culture, and all of these bands from Windsor and from Amherstburg playing at Jimmy's Pub all the time. And even when I mean, they were kind of loose about younger folks coming in for shows, but I remember even some shows where, you just stand outside by a window and listen in as well.
Yeah.
And even before I was, I think, aware of Windsor stuff, it was Amherstburg stuff. Like there's a great band called the Implants, fronted by the late great Shane Knapp, that I think was a lot of our like young skateboarder people's introduction to music. Like there's these older guys skateboarding around town, wearing Black Flag and Dinosaur Jr. shirts, and they have this interesting band that's a mix of punk and metal and hardcore that was happening right in our own little town.
That's sweet. Jimmy's Pub is such an iconic punk rock venue in Windsor history. Windsor
Yeah.
Essex history, for sure.
Yeah, it was great. And then like right around that time, like kind of post the big grunge boom, and there was that big kind of punk resurgence in maybe 94, 95, something like that. And there was a lot of Windsor bands coming to town, to play at Jimmy's, like Posers and Logger Lads, and probably Luxury Christ as well, and some out of town bands. And that's kind of, I mean, the people I was meeting at high school too, a key figure during that time was my friend James Carlson, who I'm sure you both knew, and worked at the Loop, and we went to high school together, and he was starting to book shows and community centers, and we were going to a lot of shows together locally. And I think kind of getting introduced to things through him or with him, and of course C-Jam punk and hardcore shows, like it was just such a great time to be exposed to these things.
Nice. Now, how long after starting to go to these shows did you start? Was Provoked the first band?
Yeah, Provoked was, it was all kind of Amherstburg guys that I knew kind of through, just skateboarding and stuff. And I think on the demo, it's probably the Jones brothers, who were in the DBGs, and eventually From the Room, Songs from a Room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so we started playing together, and that was definitely the first thing. And then kind of right around that time too, I think my timelines are gonna get mixed up and overlapped and stuff, but like starting to travel with friends' bands a little bit too, and getting out of town a little, and being exposed to the other, the scene in other cities. I think Provoked was short-lived and morphed into Searching for Chin really quickly.
Okay.
So, like, what were you trying to say or build with Searching for Chin? What made that transition happen?
It was like I think with a lot of especially when you're like dipping into these, you know, subcultural genres. It's like you're trying to find you're finding your crew of people, and you're figuring out who you are. And you know, I think it quickly it turned into something else musically. I'm not sure if we had a specific goal in mind, but it was just like absorbing all of these subgenres that kind of were under that umbrella. So
And that was kind of a big thing for that era, like the early 2000s. There was a lot more of these kind of subgenres just emerging, and it was really kind of cool. Like
yeah, and
people were taking more risks, I guess you could say.
I think it's like a big thing for us at the time was I mean, we were young too, right? So it was important for us to do DIY all ages shows, and the Genoway Marcus Community Center on Drouillard became kind of the centerpiece for that.
That's where I
I,
started out. That's where I first saw Searching for Chin. I was like an underager. I started in high school going to shows there. What a time to be alive.
Yeah, it was great. And, you know, like I always say, Windsor didn't have the luxury of having scenes specific to certain genres at the time. So it was like you'd have these mixed bill shows that had hundreds of people in attendance because it would be kind of like a metalcore band and a pop punk band. And I think when all of those bands that were playing all ages shows decided to kind of team up, it became this much larger thing with a lot of genre overlap.
So now with Searching for Chin, is this around the same time that Tragic Comedy Records was coming into play?
Kind of. That was one of those things that was just somewhat of a necessity. Again, when you're getting into a lot of the ethics, I think, that you adopt from early punk stuff and being influenced by, you know, Discord records and such, where there's probably not someone that wants to do it for you yet. So you, by necessity, do it yourself. And so the first couple releases under that moniker was just, you know, us putting out burned CDs for ourselves. And the name came from, I believe, one of our songs. And it was just, a means to get our stuff out and trying to put a little name on it, you know. It's very much eventually, you know, like I put some releases out by other bands or bands, you know, that were somewhat noteworthy, but again, usually it was just these things come out of necessity.
And now
You guys,
oh,
sorry.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, you guys toured quite a bit.
Yeah, I think that was an important thing early on of I don't know, just getting out of town. It's any of these little kind of mile markers are so fun and validating, and it's like, let's get out and do it for real, you know. Like you appreciate the local community that you're building, but it's also, you got to stretch your legs and get out and travel and all of the things that are
100%.
important to again, figuring out who you are and what your band is and all that kind of stuff when you're in your 20s and you're idealistic and, you know, willing to fuck up your life and just get in a van and go. I think that's what I'd recommend to young bands, you know, starting now as well.
Absolutely.
They sat with loose ties and those wandering eyes, smoking on the church step. They cursed and they covered, watching the girls walk on on by. In their Sunday best, but they stopped cold when she stepped from the threshold. A face the parish had not seen. They all want the name of the girl with the golden curls, making her way down the street. He winked and he smiled, just like a guilty child. And he said, I'll tell you next week. Pockets tight, black comb and a jackknife. Bicycle cars down with an old rubber band. Put up his black slant, flicked his dark hair back. Stolen carnation in his hand. Pockets tight, black comb and a jackknife. Bicycle cars down with an old rubber band. Put up his black slant, flicked his dark hair back. Stolen carnation in his hand. Bicycle cars down with an old rubber band. Pulled up his black pants, flicked his dark hair back. Stolen carnation in his hand. Pocket tight, black comb and a jackknife. Bicycle cars down with an old rubber band. Pulled up his black pants, flicked his dark hair back. Stolen carnation in his hand. He stumbled through just a few choice French words. So nervous, he felt he might faint. She grinned and wrote her first name on the last page. In his picture book of saints.
Even toward the end of Orphan Choir kind of being really active and traveling and stuff, myself and Kyle did kind of a short-lived, fast, abrasive hardcore thing that was playing out a little bit. And then just before COVID, Orphan Choir was kind of playing a few shows here and there, and got to play the Green Bean one last time before we disbanded. But then, there's this definite gap. I mean, for a lot of people, especially because of COVID. But there was a big gap between performing live and then diving back into it.
Well, let's talk about Lost Charm. Who's in the project with you? How did it all come together?
My friend Paul, who played with me in Searching for Chin, he moved away after that project. He was in Ottawa for a long time and played in a band called Buried Inside. So did another ex-member of Searching for Chin. And, we've always stayed close. And when he moved back to town a few years ago, he had these kind of songs bopping around in his head that he wanted to try and do a project with. And it kind of just all came together naturally. His brother is John Olenek, who, we had been playing together whether we knew it or not for years. Like he was in Sewing with Nancy way back in the day, and Another Saturday Night, and Gruff, and currently plays in Posh Toboggan.
Yeah.
And Bo played with me in Orphan Choir, and he plays in James and the Villains, who Orphan Choir toured with, and was in Lenigan, who was playing shows at the Gino way back in the day with Searching for Chin. And it's just like these 20-year relationships that all kind of converged together. And then our friend Christina, who was in Pony during one of their early lineups, and a band called Specifics, and shot most of the photos for the Orphan Choir LP. It's just like these long running relationships that came together in this really easy, natural way. And again, I think initially the sound, it's songs that Paul had in his mind, that he was almost coming from this melodic pop punk kind of sound. But once we all got our fingers on it and made our own impressions, you can hear our past projects in it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool stuff. Very cool stuff.
And it's still kind of morphing because we're only 2 EPs in, and I think our different influences and sounds are still kind of changing what it is.
Sweet. See, your second EP just came out recently, right?
Yeah, we self-recorded the first one. John did that. Uh, we did it in kind of like our practice space, and I was really happy with it. And the second one we just recorded with our friend Nathan Boots, who runs a studio called Visceral, and he plays in a metal band called Hell Is Other People, which is highly recommended as well. And his studio is great. I'd recommend it to anyone listening. But I almost have it in mind where I'd love to keep doing EPs for a while and record them at different studios. You're getting different sounds. Again, the tentacles reach all over the city where different people in different studios, and that again kind of changes the sound and further expands it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you guys got your next shows coming up September 27th, 28th, opening for the Dirty Nil.
Yeah, that's at Meteor. We're extremely excited about that. That's one of Sean from Happy Little Crowd's shows. Like he's been extremely supportive and kind. And that's what I love. Again, there's all these great promoters around that are doing different things of different genres. And our first show was with a huge band that we love called Sheer Mag, and that was City of Waste, who does kind of more punk and hardcore stuff, booked that one, and a friend of mine named Kieran worked with him on that. And yeah, it's great. We've done some stuff with Eamon and Sheila from Cassettes Records, and there's these great little promotion companies and groups all over town that are making great things happen, and we've just been like very thankful that any of them have let us open some of these shows.
Nice. So, I mean, as someone who's been through so many generations of the local Windsor music scene, um, there's a lot of we've had a lot of people mention how there's a certain unity and openness, uh, more so about 10, 15 years ago, which I think unfortunately it has a lot more to do with the accessibility to more venues back then than we have now. As someone who's played in all of them and still plays in the current one, how do you see the current state of the scene right now?
I think it's great. It's thriving. I think like there's so much going on. There's always so much going on. It's just there's always going to be things that I'm not interested in, but there's so much. I feel like the best thing you can do is focus on the things that you do enjoy. And there's a lot of venues, and yeah, I mean, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, there's all these eras that were significant for me, but I think a lot of those things have to do with, yeah, they were significant for me because of the age I was at the time or the project I was in at the time. And all of those things are still happening for someone else right now.
Mm,
And I think it's always important to view it through that lens, like there, I mean, I could ramble off a list of great local bands right now that I think deserve attention and are sincere and are just doing great things. And I think, yeah, it's thriving now. You just have to know where to look, kind of thing, right?
yeah. It's like they say, we're always in the middle of somebody's good old days.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best way to view it. Like there were shows a long time ago that had bigger turnouts, and that's great. But there's stuff, exactly what you just said. There's stuff going on now that is significant to someone, and
Yeah,
I I never want to become someone that is like, oh, the good old days. There's nothing going on now. It's like,
yeah,
no, it's alive. It's well. It's always growing and changing and significant to someone. And it's totally fine if you are not at the center of that. I'm always just happy to keep active and paying attention to the bands that are doing it now.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's my favorite approach, I think. At the end of the day, it's like I've seen a lot of people get frustrated with music, or maybe even stop playing music or stop attending shows because I'm not going to say their intentions weren't right, but it's like um at the end of the day, it's like if you're being sincere, you're making music that makes you happy, um you're you're gonna keep doing it. I think if you have other things in mind, if you're trying to please certain people or this or that, you're always gonna be disappointed. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it's like all of these things. It's like anything I've done. It's just because I like the larger community aspect out to it. I don't just want to consume the culture. I want to try and contribute to it. You know?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Well,
yeah,
you're one of our best, and you've been doing it a long time, and there's a lot of us out there that have appreciate it. And thank you for your long-term commitment to all of this. And I
yeah.
know it.
I
There's
like I'm
always some.
fangirling even harder now.
There's always something new to work on too. It's like hopefully we'll do a new EP soon, and I've always wanted to do some kind of little lyric collection thing. And my friend John Temporal, who played with me in Orphan Choir, he wants to do a photography collection. So I think we might team up and do
Nice.
a little book of some of my lyrics and some of his photos. And it's always just on to the next project and trying to stay active as long as you feel that creative drive and feel that you have something you want to create, you know?
Uh,
So,
appreciate,
Jamie, Jamie, you know what to get me for Christmas now.
yeah, yeah. About to say,
Also, it's like I feel like old approaches are important to impart on people too. It's like every show we play now, I still act like it's my first, and I make a bunch of posters, and we get out and we flyer, and these things are effective. It's there's a lot of people booking shows, they do a great job, but these old approaches are effective, and I think like most things in life, you get out of it what you put into it.
absolutely. You're preaching to the orphan choir.
Yeah, it's all of these things too. It's like this, I don't know where I heard this before. It's like I think I tried to communicate it in an interview once, and it was kind of misquoted, but it's like there's always this oh yeah, we'll do some music together when we find the time, and it's like you will never find the time, especially as you age. It's You will not find the time. You have to make the time. If it's something that's important to you, there's careers, there's mortgages, there's children, all of these things that are awesome and significant. But if this is something you want to stay active with, it's like, yeah, you have to really intentionally make the time.
Yes, you do.
Like you are with this project as well, like this podcast. I know you guys know that feeling.
No comment.
We're just both sitting here with big stupid smiles on our face.
Yeah, yeah.
Jim, you're so humble and so intelligent and just an absolute delight. We are so lucky to have people like you in our scene. Um, I I don't know how else to put it. Like your stage energy is I can't compare it to anybody. Like you are a vibe all in itself, and just please keep doing it.
Keep vibing.
Keep vibing.
I appreciate the kind words, but again, I'll always say that anything I do, it's just because of I've been very lucky to have uh, people willing to make music with me. Like
You
that.
you've mentioned some really heavyweight names throughout this entire interview, and like the people that you play with, absolutely. But I just want to just put it out there that we're here to talk about you. We'll
and
probably cut
and I
that
will
out.
try and deflect always.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, there's so many. Windsor has this amazing history, and at the end of the day, I would always just say, there's great things happening now. Always put the focus on the now. Like my former bandmate Kyle has a great band called Brain Rust. I like
Yeah, they're fantastic.
great band. Huron Lines, Bog Moss, Meander Green, Olinda. Again, former bandmate Maddie plays in Pony and Heavenly Sweetheart, who both relocated here from Toronto. There's always such fantastic things happening.
You're giving us
Yeah,
a lovely catalog of artists to get on the show. Some have already been on, some have already been
yeah.
featured, but you're a wealth of knowledge. Thank you.
I don't know. It's I something I just like love and try to spread. And maybe it's because I have nothing better to do, but it's all of these projects are great and significant and worth everyone's time. And it's like again, if I could add anything, it's just like if you have time, if you have resources, just try and be active. Like make flyers, make a zine, do a radio show, book shows, flyer for your friends' shows. All of these things are significant and contribute to the bigger picture.
Well,
100%.
you're a testament to our scene, and we thank you for being on the Windsor scene and for taking some time to go through this. It's been a great little story, great story to hear.
Thank you so much to both of you. I hope I didn't just ramble too much and eventually got my bearings.
You
No,
were perfect.
yeah, you were good.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys. Did you have any other last questions or any things you wanted to comment on?
You want to do a speed round?
I'm happy to. Yeah.
Okay, just answer quick. I got some stuff here. It's pretty silly, but we'll have fun with it.
Yeah.
Okay, first album you ever bought.
Sorry.
First album you ever bought.
Oh, maybe my current mental state isn't equipped for a speed round, but I'll try. An early one that was significant for me was a dubbed cassette of Dead Milkmen, Big Lizard in My Backyard that my sister had, and when I finally got that on vinyl, it was important to me.
Nice.
So your favorite deep cut from a Windsor band.
Ooh. favorite deep cut. Okay, this is one that can go on forever, and covers a lot of genres, but there's some Ron Leary tracks that are very significant to me. But one band that came up again recently, because they were finally posting their stuff digitally that was not available for a long time, was this short-lived, really fun band called Good Things that I liked. And yeah, there was just something fun and energetic and unique about that project that I really like. Some of them play in Trophy Knife and Tea Leaves and Bog Moss now, and yeah, check out Good Things.
Nice.
All right. So what's the best live band you've ever seen, local or otherwise?
Oh my god.
It's hard to pick just one. I know. I wouldn't be able to answer that.
Yeah, that one's
I think that's not fair. Okay.
so difficult. I feel like I'm still going to shows at least 4 times a month. That one's I can I remember very loud ones that I remember, like, for some reason Mogwai at St. Andrews sticks out in my head because
That would be
I could feel
perfect venue to see them.
I could feel the volume in my organs.
Who's
Nice.
one guest you'd love to have on Steel Belted Radio?
Oof. I don't Feel Belted Radio is interesting, wherein I've rarely had guests. I try to just like keep my talk to a minimum and play music. Like Ron Leary's been on, Locust Have No King have been on, but I think I would morph that question a little bit, and maybe I have worn a promoter hat over the years quite a few times too, like trying to book shows again out of necessity, maybe for my projects, or trying to bring bands to town that I like. And one that's always been a bucket list one for me, because he hasn't played Windsor in so long, was Hayden. Uh, I've always wanted to do a Hayden show, and he hasn't played Windsor since like the '90s. So, not a Steel Belted Radio guest per
But
se, but
just a show. Okay.
I
I'll give
definitely,
you the win on that one.
yeah, I'm gonna try and get him down here eventually. I've pestered him over the years.
All
Nice.
right. What was your first concert?
First concert. There was one that stands out to me was a Jimmy's Pub show that was like an Amherstburg band called the Changelings played, and maybe the Posers. I'd have to look at some of the flyers from that archive, but I think, like a lot of people from this area too, I probably saw a Tea Party show at some point, and I have these great memories of standing on the sidewalk in front of the Spotted Dog because we were too young to get in, but they'd open the garage door
Yeah.
and we would see Dayglow Abortions and a bunch of fucking goofs, and those bands really made an impact early on.
Okay, so how about cassette, CD, vinyl, or streaming?
I like a lot of this Windsor memorabilia and ephemera. I'm a physical media hoarder, for good or for bad. I have a lot of vinyl. I still buy vinyl. I try to avoid a certain streaming platform I don't like their ethics, but I do streaming as well. If I'm buying something today, it's going to be vinyl.
Okay. What's your favorite local dive bar that no longer exists?
This is one that I should have touched on in the other portion, I think, is like when Acapulco Delight was in the Fog parking lot, that was after Jimmy's Pub, that was the next significant venue for our kind of early punk journey for our generation of bands. Like, current owner Kevin, his dad ran it then, and they had the stage and PA system, and there were punk and hardcore shows, Acapulco Delight, all the time. And not for I mean, I love the Coach and Horses, obviously, too. That was a significant one for me. But yeah, early Acapulco shows were during my real formative years, and it's always going to have a warm place in my heart.
What's the worst road food while on tour?
Road food?
Yeah.
Oh, I am a long time vegetarian, and there
So
were
it all
definitely,
sucks.
yeah, there were countries, I think, that when I was traveling with Walls Jericho, there's places that it was maybe a little bit more challenging to track down things that were great.
Okay. And then finally, if someone's new to the Windsor punk scene, what's one band that they should start with?
Ooh. Well, I think Windsor is unique and very lucky in that our first generation, our first wave bands essentially never broke up and are still active. Like it's so rare. It's such a cool thing that like members of the Spies and the Dry Heaves still play together.
Yeah, Guitar Army and New Enemies.
Yeah, Guitar Army, New Enemies, like these people never really stopped playing, and they're still great and energetic, and they usually do these old punks fundraisers from time to time, and it's always a great show. I think we're very lucky in still having that here. Yeah, that would probably be my go-to there. And great, both of them had great 7-inch singles that are still sought after. And
Oh, perfect. All right, I think that about does it for me.
And that about does it for me.
that about does it for me.
The tunnel never fell deep enough to pass beneath the waves. The tunnel never fell long enough to reach the Great Lakes state.
All right, you guys just heard Eerie Perennial. That is off of the EP of the same name from 2024. That's Lost Charm. And before that, we heard a couple other tracks of theirs by Lost Charm. Again, that's Walking Distance and Always Eventually. We had a couple other songs mixed in throughout that interview. I played a bit more Orphan Choir with one of my favorites, Picture Book of Saints, off of, again, 2009 self-titled LP. And we heard some Searching for Chin earlier. We were talking briefly about tragicomedy records, and Jim had mentioned how they were titled off of the name of a Searching for Chin song. So that's what I played for you, the tragicomedy. And that about wraps up the music recap of what you just heard for this episode. I want to thank Jim again for, again, the wealth of knowledge that he was able to bring. Jamie, anything else you'd like to add?
I'm just really glad that we got a chance to sit down and talk to him because it was a fascinating listen to, as you had mentioned off air, about the DIY ethic and the hustle and grind of the punk rock scene, especially. There's a certain grit, I think, that punk rock and metal bands have when it comes to touring and doing stuff that maybe
Just
other
posting the
bands.
flyers.
Yeah, and
Like that. I keep coming back to that. Just the grind of just printing and posting flyers and
sleeping
like
in
how effective
vans,
they are.
sleeping in vans, and sharing the floors and houses and all that kind of stuff. It's great to hear someone who's been doing it for so long and still has the same passion for it.
Young kids can really take note here. I find that with a lot of our episodes, especially these full-length features of veteran artists,
Yeah,
what a great uh, just collection of information
yeah,
of tried and true methods for bands to rely on. So
yeah.
thank you, Jim, for providing an amazing episode full of information there.
And if you liked what you heard of those last three tracks, the Lost Charm tracks, again, Lost Charm is playing this Saturday and Sunday at Meteor. They are opening the show for the Dirty Nil, Hamilton's Juno Award-winning Dirty Nil, one of Canada's great hard rock bands. And also on the bill is Montreal's punk band Spite House. Um, there are still some limited tickets left. That is this Saturday and Sunday, 2 nights at Meteor, a happy little crowd's production.
Hmm. Might be.
Well,
I might grab a ticket for that if you guys are going.
I just might.
Hmm.
I
Sounds
might
like
already have a ticket.
Ooh.
Oh, dang,
Ooh.
Gina.
So this Mr. Meloche's information, number one, just the old school work ethic and the flyering alone. Like I'm definitely trying to bring that back with my current bands, which we'll learn about and talk about later. But the flyering really does go a long way, and I try to do selective flyerings. I know that not everybody wants one. I try to make
Yeah,
it like like if you're gonna throw it away, just give it back. Like because I don't
yeah.
printing costs too much nowadays.
It does. You can't just
Uh,
willy-nilly and have
right.
people tearing
And
down
another
70%
thing
of
is
them.
these band names, like a choir of orphans. That's so just intense when you really think about it. And what's the other one? Searching for
For
chin. Is that
chin.
chin
Yeah,
like as in like your chin?
yeah,
Yeah,
Like somebody searching for the chin to like knock you out?
maybe.
Like in
I
a
never,
Oh,
I, I,
fight?
hadn't- I
I
hadn't
never
thought
thought
about
of
it.
that.
Like I'm searching for that chin to like hit the button because that was the hardcore band, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like
you
searching
might
for
be onto
chin.
something.
Like I'm looking for that chin, looking for that
yeah.
that
We'll,
button,
we'll
Want
you
have
to
to,
know?
we'll have to
break
ask
some
this.
jaws.
We'll have to ask
Yeah,
Jim this
yeah.
weekend.
Jawbreakers.
All right, so there's two opportunities to see Lost Charm and the continuing musical saga of Mr. Jim Meloche and co. Uh, well, let's wrap this up and thank you, folks, for stopping by the Windsor scene. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you,
Thank,
Mike.
thank you, Randy. Thank you, Jamie.
Doctor, doctor,
Doctor,
doctor,
doctor.
doctor,
Handshake,
Doc
handshake.
doctor.
Doctor. We'll see you guys next time.
All right.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great one.
See you.
That's right, Mama. Don't be hoping.
Yeah.
Holy